Thanks for checking out my video. If you want to learn more from me, I have a lot of classes on Udemy. You can find the links to a lot of those in the description. All right, so today I wanted to talk about liminal spaces. So, what are those? And can we make them? Yes and yes. and yeah, any hoozles. So, liminal spaces are kind of defined as like the places and even times that are in between. So, if you ever do like guided journeys and stuff or guided meditations or whatever, you're walking through the woods or you're walking on a path on the beach. And like, well, I was just reading the drawing of the three from Stephen King again for like the fifth time. You're walking down the beach and you see a door. What's behind the door? You're walking, in the wilderness and you see a cave. It's dark. What's in the cave? Or things like dawn and dusk, or even in the middle of the night at like 3 o'clock. So you can have like times on the clock being liminal spaces. Times when you are alone and maybe you're a little out of it. Wake up in the middle of the night and do magic and report back to me. Tell me how that goes. Wake up and do spell work at 3 a.m. Or you go out in nature and you find a liminal space like a cave or something. And these are really great doorways and times that you can work some magic into. So let me just go off some of the notes and stuff here, right? So dawn and dusk, doorways and thresholds, portals in architecture and in the psyche. Crossroads, shorelines, caves, and fog, where opposites meet and blur. Like, you ever have a guided meditation where you're standing on the edge of a lake or something and you go into the lake? Liminal spaces is where you have that border between the known and the unknown. Dream time, sleep paralysis, trance states, when the waking mind releases its grip, even dreaming, you have lucid dreaming, or even in dreaming, that's an in-between state when you can remember stuff, and then, you get messages and you come out of it. And even like graveyards, old roads, abandoned buildings, tunnels, things like that. I dare you to find one of these places, and meditate in front of it, even just gazing into it. And like, let me give you an example, right? Upstairs in my house, of course, everything's upstairs. I have 2 bedrooms with a hallway. You turn the lights off at night, and that, where are you, Pixie? Come here. That becomes a liminal space in itself because there's darkness in the hallway, and then there's the room. And if the light is right, you're interrupting me. If the light is right, then that hallway's completely dark. Well, you want to know what? If you're gazing into it, it could be similar to a black mirror where you can get messages and even see things. I got this idea because where I live, at one part of it, there's a river that flows in between 2 willow trees, and then it goes into the woods. And that the vegetation and stuff that opens around it is a liminal space. It's like a doorway. And even to the left of it, there's an even bigger one. And you go out there at night when it's dark, which I'm probably going to do right after this video, by the way. Let me know if you want me to post some pictures about this place, because I could try to take some. Probably have to whip out my Canon R100 and figure out the nighttime stuff, because bringing a tripod out there and stuff. But me and my lady were sitting there the other night because that place gets, activated with fireflies, like tons of them, right? And so we're sitting there and we're just gazing at it, and I was seeing, things moving in those darker spaces, right above the river and to the left of it that I described. And it's just like gazing into a black mirror or a dark bowl of water to see things in form of scrying. Because when you do this kind of stuff, I made a video on this. When you do that kind of gazing at like a sigil or scrying and things like that, even staring in a liminal space, your brain gets bored with the fact that you're not moving around and looking at different things, and it's craving new information. So your subconscious then, from a psychological model anyway, your subconscious tends to try to like cook up stuff so it can get you in touch with your subconscious, which, as we know in magic, is very, very, very powerful, right? Because energetic model, that's how we're able to tap into magic and stuff, is through the subconscious mind. And psychological model, that's where all your potential is at, and all your programming, both good and bad, your shadow and your golden shadow. Anyways, let me go back to the notes and stuff here, and drop a like if you like what I'm talking about so far. But so when we're talking about going to liminal spaces, whether it's doing a ritual at 3 a.m., and this is another little sidebar here that I'm going to take, but when you have ritual, kill all your other lights, like the overhead lights I have here, and knock those out. The only kind of lighting that I have is either from the light coming from the window, depending on the time of day, or the candles that I use, right? Because that darkness around me, when you cast a circle and stuff, that in itself is a liminal space, because you are putting yourself in a lit space with darkness all around you. So there is a border between you and the mundane world, if that makes sense. So when you're going to liminal spaces to connect with spirits and maybe do some divination or some scrying and stuff while staring in a liminal space or meditating or whatever, first point, spirits everywhere, both good and bad. So protection would be great. Protection items, asking deities for protection, setting up wards, shielding, stuff like that. But announce yourself to that space, whether it's with a whisper or whatever you're comfortable with, aloud, or, even in your head, because you're sending that energy out just by your thoughts. I would argue that talking out loud is much more effective because you're bringing it into reality. Announce that you're there, say what you're there for, and then say you're going to be respectful and ask for, guidance or whatever you're looking for, whatever you're dealing with, that kind of thing. And you can leave offerings too. Now, there's plenty of different offerings that you can do. Cornmeal, pinch of cornmeal, pinch of tobacco, maybe some, loose herbs, a pinch of those. We do kintus. My lady and I do kintus because we follow the Karo shamanic tradition. And there's any other number of offerings you can think of. Just don't litter, right? Beads are pretty and stuff. Don't litter. They're pretty. Don't do anything that's not biodegradable as an offering, please. So then, when you're in that liminal space, and of course I'm talking about going outdoors and finding it. Even if you have like a back window or a back porch, just staring out into the darkness at night, there's a liminal space for you. Or bedroom into hallway, liminal space, right? That offering, you could even do it in your home, but the offering is for the spirits. The offering is, it's both for the place and not for the place, but it's also for the spirits, because the spirits help to communicate different things that we don't know, and they can teach us stuff. But, losing my train of thought-ish, but leaving the offerings there is important. Then sit and just be with it. Think of, try to clear your mind with some deep breathing. Any thoughts come up, let them go. And get the idea with metacognition stuff and meditation, what I talk about in all my Udemy classes, link to which is down below in the description through the link tree. I always talk about meditating, training your mind to be clear so you can listen to spirits and stuff. So you want to listen and gaze. And whatever comes up, pay attention to it. Maybe you want to write things down. Maybe you want to have the recorder on your phone going, and a word comes in, say it out loud so that your phone records it. An image comes in. Say it out loud so your phone records it. Describe it, all that stuff. Flow of consciousness kind of jazz. And, see what happens when you're there. Of course, this is all aside from when you're doing rituals in liminal space. You guys know what to do. If you don't know what to do, I do magic mentoring and other stuff like that. And there's a plethora of videos can talk about what you want to do in spellwork and whatnot. But anyways, moving on. So you can build a relationship with liminal spaces over time. The more that you visit them again and again and again and again, then you can, of course, always leave offerings. Maybe there'd be a time or two when you weren't able to or something like that, and they'll most likely be understanding or whatever. And then, those spirits, you'll get to know them more, you'll get to know the space more, and the more that you do these kinds of things, the more you do anything, the easier it becomes, and the more welcoming it is. First time you're hanging out at a friend's house might be a little awkward. Then it gets better, it gets better. Building relationships over time with places and spirits and people and things, right? And then, let's see. I like this idea. Sit at a crossroads or with one foot in water and one on land. Ooh, that's liminal space right there. You can even do these kinds of things in visualizations and meditations. And then, here's another one. Naming and honoring the space. So if you visit a recurring liminal space, name it. I gotta talk to my lady because we really haven't named the space that I'm talking about here. But that allows you to kind of, when you give it a title, that's a way of honoring it. You could even ask for the name of the place and what the spirits call it, and you might get something. And by the way, if you do this with someone else, they might tell you one name, and they might tell the person next to you another name, because it might just be kind of a code word for you, and there's a different code word for them, if that makes sense. And, let's see, what else do I got here? Talking about that's stuff for another day, liminal mirrors. But, yeah, I've been writing a lot of notes lately. So, liminal spaces are the in-between places. Remember to do protection, announce that you're there, leave offerings, and just sit and see what they can teach you. One of the big things that I want to start stressing on this channel is when you go and do magic, at least from my point of view, it's wonderful and arguably better to build relationships with spirits rather than going to them and saying, hey, I need this, here's the offering, give it to me. The more that you build a relationship with people and spirits and even the energies or whatever model you use, the more you build a relationship with your subconscious mind, the easier it's going to be to access and the better your results are going to be. Same thing with working with energies, because you're going to get more used to working with those energies. Same thing with spirits, because building relationships with spirits through offerings and things like that, and even doing what they ask you, then you're building a relationship and they're more likely to help you. You're more likely to help them. Everybody benefits, everybody wins. So building a relationship, seeing if you can get a name for the place, leaving it in good standing, pick up any trash that's there. So many humans, I don't like humans. So many humans leave trash everywhere. If you're gonna approach a liminal space and you're gonna want to learn from it, take care of it both on a spiritual and a physical level. You might want to, cleanse the space with asperging water, or maybe bring some sage around it. Pick up trash, any trash you see. I don't care what it is. Bring a trash bag with you. We do that all the time where we live. So there's ways to connect with liminal spaces for a lot of different benefits, but make sure you approach it with reverence, offerings, building relationships, protection, and taking care of the damn place, right? All right, so rant/educational little bit over. I will see you guys next time. Good hunting.